This episode brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Shifting a little money here, a little there, and hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can get a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help find you options within your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
We're back to the continuation of the segment from a few minutes ago. If you missed any, catch it on the Morning X podcast. This is the best of the Morning X on 99X.
Is there anybody out there who was the total school bully? I want to talk to a bully. Tina.
Yes.
You were a bully.
I was a bully.
Nothing like chick bullies.
Chick bullies.
What did you do? What'd you
Cruel.
do, Tina?
Cruel.
I used to beat up this guy named Shannon in my class all the time because he had broken up with my best friend, so I would just wail on him.
You beat him up?
I beat him up,
Oh.
and
All right,
his mom finally called my mom and said, could you ask Tina to stop beating Shannon up because his other guys that he plays football with are making fun of him.
Now, wait a second. How big a girl are you, or were you?
And he played
I was-
football?
Yeah, he played
Yeah.
football and you beat him up?
Was he the kicker?
No, he was the quarterback.
No!
No way.
You're beating up the high school quarterback.
We got to call this guy. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, what,
But
Can I
that
ask
was like
you-
right before he hit puberty. Once he got bigger than me, I kind of laid off.
can I ask you, are you a big girl?
No, I'm like 5'3".
Did this happen here in Georgia?
No, it was in Alabama, in Altoona, Alabama.
Is there? Do you remember his last name? We've got to get him on the phone.
But
What was his first name?
But his last-
Shannon.
Shannon Butts.
Yeah,
we got to call.
You were kicking butts.
I wonder if
exactly.
Hey,
And I
Tina.
used to get on. Yeah.
You know what happens to girl bullies in high school? They grow up to be professional golfers.
Hey.
And then I used to beat up the guy on my school bus.
3 minutes to get that one in.
All right.
Hey, hold on.
Hey,
You
hang
cannot go
on.
away.
You hang on. Hey, Chad.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were a bully.
Yeah. It's just when I moved to Atlanta, I'd really changed a lot. But it's like when I was up in South Pittsburgh, Tennessee, I was a preacher's kid, and I was supposed to do everything right, and I went to this little place called South Pittsburgh High School. We were the Pirates.
Uh-huh.
And I'd always go in, and, nobody really talked to me. And
I didn't understand a word he just
I'm
said.
understanding about every other word.
No, he said no one
okay,
ever
no
really
one ever talked
to
to
him.
you. Okay. Yeah, so
I'd
go ahead.
I'd go into high school, and, me being a preacher's kid, and like my first day, everybody wanted to talk, to come up to me and talk to me and everything, and I thought I was a really nice guy and said, hey, you a preacher's kid and all that. For the first day I was there. And I was supposed to be in band class, I play the trumpet in band. And I'd go in band and everybody would be like, hey, how you doing, and talk to me. And then like the second day I came in, for some reason somebody found out my dad's name was Richard Simmons.
Oh.
Really?
And everybody was welling on me like, hey, your dad's that Richard Simmons dude on TV, ain't he? And I was like, I took it as a joke, and he's like, hey, your dad's named Richard Simmons, ain't he? I was like, man, I'm gonna beat your ass. And I was telling everybody, I was like, man, y'all are really starting to piss me off.
So they were making fun of you because they said your dad's name was Richard Simmons and that he was the Richard Simmons.
Yeah, and then they kept on calling me the preacher's kid, and because I said ass, they said, well, hey, you're supposed to be this example, this old Christian dude and everything like that. And the only way I can make friends is if I hung out with these couple guys that are rednecks, and we used to, they had these big 4-wheel drives, and they invited me to go out coon hunting with them one night.
Huh? Yeah?
And so we went out in the mountains and going to go coon hunting, and he's like, well, hey, have you ever been coon hunting? I was like, no. It's like, hey, why don't you stand out in the woods and hold this bag, and we're going to take the shotguns up on the other side, and we're going to fire them a couple times, and sometimes that scares about 4 or 5 coons out. If you just stand there with a bag and hold it open, we'll chase the coon out in the bag. So I stood out in the woods for about an hour, and he's like, Chad, you ready? And I was like, yeah. He's like, all right, just stand there, man. We'll be right back. And so I heard a couple gunshots and everything. He's like, hey, I think we got a coon, though. Hold on, we're going to chase him your way. So I stood there for about an hour and a half, and it went an hour, and then, hour and 30 minutes, I started getting worried, and I was like, and I started hollering for Jason and everything like that, and I didn't hear nothing. And I was out in the middle of nowhere. It's called the Bottoms was it called up in South Pittsburgh. And there's been a lot of people killed up there, too, because some people are real little. There's not like maybe 1,000 to 1,200 people in this town.
So what happened at the end?
I got left in the woods.
Hang on, what happened at the beginning? Yeah, so at the end, what happened?
I got left in the woods. I had to sleep out in the woods. I didn't know where I was. And the next morning, I mean, I was walking around. I didn't know where I was. And so
he was left in the woods and raised by coons the rest of his life.
Raised by coons, yeah.
Became Eric Rudolph.
I had sex with coons and everything. Now I'm part human, part coon.
You had sex with coons.
Right.
No, man, I'm just kidding.
That's very close to a phrase that pays.
All right. Thanks a lot for the
now
call.
I'm part human, part coon. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Rich.
Quickly, Rich, did you get beaten up?
You know what? Actually, unfortunately, near the beginning, I was on the giving end of the bullying.
You were a bully?
You were a bully?
Rich!
Yeah, believe it or not. I was, like, taller than most of the kids when I was younger, so... And I remember especially this one time in 6th grade, I think I just bought Twisted Sister's Stay Hungry album, so I was looking to kick somebody's ass. And I went to the bathroom, and there's this one kid named Steven was his name. And for some strange reason, he was standing at the urinal next to mine, and I was standing at the urinal, right next to his. And for some odd reason, I just decided I wanted to pee on his leg. So I peed on his leg. And instead of him like putting up a fight or anything, he just kind of quietly walked out and told the teacher, and I had to go to the principal's office. And I tried to play it off like, I told the principal, how do you explain I felt like peeing on a guy's leg? And so I tried to play it off like I was doing a long shot, one of those things that kids used to do for games and stuff. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Actually, I don't.
Oh, yeah. Well, you don't know what a long shot is?
No.
You never played long shot game. See how far you can go and still make it into the urinal?
No.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
But then again, if you remember, I don't really ever go into public urinals.
How did you go to the bathroom in school?
How did I go to the bathroom in school?
Jimmy, who's afraid of public bathrooms. How did you go to the restroom?
I would go to the nurse's office and have her call my mom and tell her I was sick and had to go home.
So, Rich, what happened? Did you get expelled?
No, I went to the principal's office. I explained to him what a long shot was, and he had a sense of humor and started laughing at it, and he just gave me detention. And after that, from that day on, I actually went on to be pretty cool, and I actually went on to be like, I don't know. I really had friends with every group. I ended up being like senior class president.
See, you were like me. You were like me, except I didn't have the achievements. I was liked by everybody, but I had no achievements.
Yeah.
You were the senior class president. I was not,
Can't see Rich being a bully.
All right, Rich, get back to work.
I still have no achievements. I'm not much different.
Well, when you
I'm still the class clown. I just get a paycheck for it.
If you had to go number 2 at school, what would you do?
I didn't. I never had to do that.
So he just didn't eat. He never brought his lunch to school.
Oh, no. At number 2 in school? Are you crazy?
An upset stomach.
You never did number 2 in school?
Never.
No.
Where would you go if you had? You can't just shut your body down completely.
Yes, my body is very well tuned and was finely tuned. My internal mechanism knew that between the hours of whatever it was, 7:30 and 4, 8 and 4, certain things weren't going to happen.
You would have lunch, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
That would never push anything to the horizon?
Well, after school. That was my after-school activity.
Till 3 o'clock?
That was my extracurricular activity. I was going to number 2. I was on the number 2 team.
He wasn't on the football team. He was on the poop team. Jimmy, you play football? No, I
got to go to the bathroom.
This is the best of the Morning X with Barnes, Leslie, and Jimmy. Proving once again that radio budgets are lower than ever. 99X.
The United States Soccer Federation presents the U.S. Soccer Podcast.
Inside the opening 45 seconds. What a goal! Jack McGlynn with that cannon of a left foot.
Never miss a game.
What a start for the United States.
Shot for distance. What a goal!
Never miss a moment.
Exquisite from the San Diegan. Can he finish? Yes, he can! Yeah!
The U.S. Soccer Podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.